Ever wonder how a video project goes from hours of messy footage to a polished, finished product? The answer is post-production. In this final phase of the video production process, all of the elements of the production come together to create something viewers can enjoy. You may already understand the basics of editing, but that's just one step in the video post-production process. In this video, we'll talk through each step, from organization to editing, audio, visual effects, color, and delivery. We'll also define the jargon we encounter along the way, as well as go over why it's important to follow a consistent order of operations during post-production. Let's get started. Chris here from Videomaker. There are time codes below if you want to know what we're covering or want to jump to any place in the video. Do you want to edit faster? If so, we have a list of the top 10 keyboard shortcuts you need to know. To get it, click on this card or the link in the description. The first step of the video post-production process is to gather and organize all of the assets that will be included in the finished video. Acquisition is the process of offloading media from the camera to your storage drive or otherwise acquiring footage that you will use during editing. The next task is metadata logging. Metadata is data about other data. In our case, that other data is our video file. Metadata logging is the process of attaching additional information to your footage and other assets to make it easier to find the exact clip you need. Additional information might include details like the camera person, location, or useful tags. This is also the time to back up your footage. For this, you may want to consider an external storage device or RAID enclosure. A RAID, or redundant array of independent disks, provides options for redundant storage, meaning you are less likely to lose all of your data if one drive fails. Cloud storage is another option to consider, though you will likely need to pay a monthly subscription if you go this route. However you decide to back up your footage, make sure it's stored in at least 2 separate physical locations to minimize the risk of losing all of your hard work. The next phase of video post-production is editing. This starts with the assembly phase. During assembly, you are piecing together clips in roughly the correct order. You aren't trying to make good cuts at this point. Instead, you're focused on constructing the basic arc of the video and ensuring all of the pieces you need are available. After assembly is the rough cut phase. Here you'll trim down your clips and continue to work on the flow of your video. Cuts will be in approximately the right place, but clips may still move around or get cut as you work on your flow and pacing. The rough cut may take on several iterations, but eventually you'll have a decent draft of your video that conveys the mood and story or message that you're aiming for. This is a great time to get some feedback, which you can use to improve your editing in the next phase, the fine cut. At the fine cut stage of editing, you'll have the clips trimmed and in order in your timeline. Now is the time to really work on pacing. In this stage, you're refining the trimming of each cut so that the video flows just the way you want it. You're still not worried about audio, visual effects, or color. All of that will come after you reach the next milestone. Picture lock. Picture lock is the point in the editing process after which no further changes will be made to the video timeline. Defining this point in editing process helps you avoid unnecessary work. For example, if you start color correction and grading before you know which clips you want to use, you'll likely waste time correcting clips that won't make it into the final project. It's always best to wait until picture lock before moving on to audio work, visual effects, or color correction. After editing the video portion of your project and getting to picture lock, you can move on to working on the audio. The first step will be editing the audio that was recorded along with the video footage. This means synchronizing audio when needed, trimming down audio clips, and cleaning up any imperfections in the location sound. Once the main audio tracks are in place, you'll move on to sound design, starting with things like sound effects and music. You can find pre-recorded sound effects in a sound library, or you can record custom synchronized sound effects called Foley. Music is similar in that you can source your background music from a music library, or have a composer create something more unique. In either case, always make sure you have the right to use that music for your intended purpose. ADR, or automated dialogue replacement, is another audio element you may need to add in post-production. This is the process of re-recording dialogue for an existing video clip, usually because the sound recorded on location is unusable for some reason. like an intrusive airplane or last-minute changes to the script. You may also need to record voiceovers at this stage in production if your project requires it. Finally, before you're done working on your audio, you'll need to mix all of the different tracks and elements together so that each sound clip can be heard without overpowering other audio elements. In this step, you're aiming to give your audience a smooth listening experience. Visual effects is another phase of video post-production that is best to save until after picture lock. Visual effects can include special effects like those that fabricate explosions and make fantastic monsters come to life. The visual effects phase is also the time to add any motion graphics like opening titles, full screen infographics, lower thirds, or any other graphic visual element. Last on our list of video post-production steps is color. This step includes both color correction and color grading, but what's the difference? Color correction focuses on balancing the color, contrast, and brightness of a clip so that everything in the shot is clearly visible without distracting color variations. Usually this means manipulating the shot using various color correction tools to better match what we would have perceived if we viewed the scene in person. Generally, a colorist working on a video project will do at least 2 color correction passes. The first pass, primary color correction, focuses on adjusting the entire shot and making each clip in the timeline blend with those clips around it. The second pass, secondary color correction, zooms in on particular areas of the frame to make finer adjustments to specific problem areas. After color correction comes to color grading, the mood or tone for your project through color. Color grading can also be used to signify different environments, time periods, or other changes that might occur throughout your video. With your color work done, the only thing left is to export your video and send it out into the world. When you export your video into the file to deliver it to your client or other destination, you'll have the chance to adjust settings like output resolution, bitrate, and file type. The settings you choose will depend on how your video will be viewed. Make sure to use the settings that best suit your destination, whether that be social media, TV, or the big screen. Throughout filmmaking history, post-production has had to follow a specific series of steps to create blockbuster movies from uncut film reels. Video editing today is non-linear. You can edit the video in any order you'd like. You can start with the last scene or work your way out from the middle. However, the steps you take throughout the video post-production process should still follow a logical order of operations. But why is this so important? First, as we mentioned earlier, it ensures that time isn't wasted working on clips that won't make it into the final video. It also helps you avoid having to do the same work twice. If a shot needs to be moved late in post-production, it could mean remixing the audio for the entire segment. Following an order of operations also allows teams to work more efficiently and helps prevent version communication issues. Everyone will know exactly where a project is in the production pipeline and what needs to happen next. Although you can tackle some steps out of order, you still want to wait for other stages to be complete before jumping in. Sticking to a constant order of operations from project to project will help streamline your workflow, so you can focus on the creative stuff. By now, you should understand the basics of what happens during video post-production and why each step matters. With that, you can approach post-production in a way that saves you time and effort so that you can focus on doing your best work. Remember, if you'd like to get our list of the top 10 keyboard shortcuts you need to know, click on this card or the link in the description. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing and liking this video. In the next video, we'll cover everything you need to know about video editing storage. Thanks for watching.